Now, of course, we begin with the World Bank's latest ease of doing business report. South Africa is now only the 6th easiest country in Africa to start and run a business. It comes behind a star performer Mauritius and has slid about 8 places to rank number 82 out of about 190 countries. Now, Mauritius tops the list as the best business destination on the continent. It scrapped trading fees for licenses below $150. And of course, Rwanda takes second position, and it now takes 4 days to start a business there. Morocco is the best destination in North Africa, combining stamp duty and introducing an online system for paying taxes is improving business standards in the country. Kenya takes the 4th position ahead of Botswana, Zambia, Tunisia, Seychelles and Lesotho. Well, let's get the highlights on this report. Harry Horton now joins us in Washington, D.C. Harry, as always, welcome to the show. Now, Sub-Saharan Africa is the most represented region amongst the global top 10 improvers. Overall, the region seems to have improved significantly this year. What's your take?
Yeah, big improvements for Sub-Saharan Africa, but also huge variation as well. So as you mentioned, Mauritius standing at number 25 in these global rankings, but then at the other end of the scale at 190 is Somalia, ranked as the hardest place to do business in the world by the World Bank. Sub-Saharan Africa is the region, according to this report, with the highest number of reforms and the highest share of reforming economies. And while other parts of the world have seen a greater average number of reforms, the greatest average impact of reforms, according to the World Bank, is being felt in Sub-Saharan Africa. Lots of praise specifically for construction reforms and also reforms to property transfers as well in the region for Sub-Saharan Africa by the World Bank.
Now, Harry, as you mentioned, Mauritius did emerge as the highest ranking economy in Sub-Saharan Africa. But what other countries stood out on this year's report?
Well, in those top 10 improving countries were Nigeria, Malawi and Zambia. Nigeria specifically was praised for introducing reforms to the approval of documents and making construction much easier to do. Also making the construction process more transparent as well. In Malawi, there was praise for halving the fees for building permits and also for introducing a new credit bureau in the country. And in Zambia, there was lots of praise for introducing a new online platform for filing taxes. So these electronic reforms seem to be at the centre of praise from the World Bank for the region of Sub-Saharan Africa.
Now, Rwanda also was a bright light this time around. It continues to move up. This time around, it moved up about 15 places. And the country was also amongst some of the best globally in certain areas. What is the country doing right?
Well, specifically, there was lots of praise for construction. So construction reforms in Rwanda attracting a huge amount of praise from the World Bank, specifically for introducing risk-based inspections for construction industry permits. There was also praise for the property registration process in the country. That's improved a great deal over the last 10 years, and specifically over the last 12 months there was praise for new online services in property registration processes. Electronic reforms also attracting praise for the tax-paying system as well, and there was praise for being one of the few economies in Sub-Saharan Africa that offered online company name searches.
Now, sadly, South Africa, which of course is one of Africa's most advanced economies, we saw it slide about 8 places this time around. Where is the country falling behind?
Well, there was some criticism of South Africa, not a great deal of detail in this report by the World Bank. The areas they did highlight, they said that over the past 12 months it's become more difficult to apply for construction permits, and it's also become more difficult to register property and resolve insolvency. The country does still rank quite highly within the sub-Saharan African region, and it's worth pointing out as well that this annual report by the World Bank does attract some criticism for its methodology. Now, the authors of the report do acknowledge some of that criticism. They say they've enacted reforms in the way that they carry out this report in the past few years or so, and they also point out that whenever they highlight certain countries in this report, then they go on to see those countries enact economic reforms, and they say that this report is of great value to many countries around the world.
Well, many thanks for those insights, Harry Horton, joining us there in Washington, D.C.